Hi, I'm Essence.
Hi, I'm Destiny.
And hi, I'm Lorraine, and we are YLAG, working in the community in hopes to make a difference. And right here we have Mr. Alfred Powell. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Locally, I'm known as Coach Powell. I coached for nearly 40 years at Dunbar High School in Dayton, Ohio. And I am a professor currently at Stony Brook University, Long Island, New York. I am the director of counseling and treating people of color. Yeah. So.
Cool. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, to be around so much intelligence and beauty, so it's a pleasure to be here. But, one of the things that I do for a living is have discussions about critical issues in critical times. And so I want to challenge you tonight on some things that's so important for your generation to be able to lead us, because you are the leaders. You're not the future leaders, you're leading now. And so let's start off with your ages. What's your age?
I'm 20 years old.
20 years old, okay.
I'm 19.
Okay.
I'm 19 as well.
Okay. Any of you advancing your education right now or in school?
Yes.
Where?
Yes. I go to Sinclair, so
Okay.
technically I'm in my second year on paper, but I
Okay.
did take a break though. So
Okay. And what is your critical area of study? Have you
business
decided?
administration.
Business, okay.
Yes.
All right. And what about you?
I'm going to be a junior in the fall. I'm doing medical imaging.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I go to Bloomfield Colleges down in New Jersey.
Okay. All right. East Coast, okay.
Okay, so I attend Bowling Green State University and I'm majoring in public health.
Okay, fantastic. Those are all very pertinent and well-needed careers. I wish you the best. I wish you the best. So I noticed that everyone is over 18. So you're no longer considered, that teenager per se, young adulthood, and young adulthood is an very interesting state of being and time in your lives. How many of you've ever had that statement before or that thought, and you said to yourself, maybe you whispered it because your parents were in earshot, I can't wait till I get 18. Anyone guilty of that?
I think I'm very much the opposite, actually.
Oh.
Even now, when people are like, "Oh, you're grown," I'm like, "No, I'm not." Yes, that is not something I ever wanted to rush. I'm very sad. I'm here now. I cried on my 20th birthday. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It only gets better, believe me.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay. What about you?
I may have said maybe if I got in trouble, but I know I didn't mean it. I know I didn't mean it because I'm not ready to pay bills, honestly. I'm going to keep on this train as long as I can. But, not too long, of course, because eventually I got to get it on my own. But,
Okay.
Working.
What about you?
Yeah, I say the same. I feel like I probably said it maybe twice, but I always regret it. I always say, I wish I could just go back to high school. High school was so much fun. It was so easy because I don't want to pay bills either. I'm too.
And I enjoy what each one of you said, because it is that place of flux. I couldn't wait to get here. Now that I'm here, I don't want to rush it. You might want to step back a little bit, but it's coming one way or the other, whether you want it to or not. You have to think about the fact that sometimes as parents, we don't want to rush you. We don't want you to get into that adulthood too soon. Young adulthood is that time where the curiosity is really there on a lot of things, and one foot is in life and one foot is back in childhood, sort of, and you get accused of, you're 18, or you're 20 years old, you should know better. But not necessarily, because the brain is not fully developed. Certain parts that are critical to decision making is not fully developed at that time. So have you ever had an experience where you had a friend who's 19, 20, 21, who lacks maturity? Mm-hmm. What does that look like to you?
Not being responsible.
Yeah.
They just it's always something they're not responsible. They don't handle their business.
Okay, all right.
I feel like, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like once you step out of high school, you kind of see, I wouldn't want to say you kind of see how everybody's life is going to go, but you see that one friend who can't never keep a job or keep something steady or something like that, and it's kind of maybe you need to fix that because it's crackdown time, honestly. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I would definitely agree. I feel like I've been working since I was like 15. So I feel like when I see my friends who like aren't actively trying to make money, like you don't have to have a 9-to-5 job or anything like that. But if you're not trying to figure out a plan or you don't have any real aspirations or goals, it's definitely a red flag. So
You know, maturation or that maturity process is critical to development. That's why, you know, typically you have chores when you were growing up, you know, responsibility. You may stick your lip out, didn't want to wash the dishes, but there's so many critical things that's being developed in you with that responsibility. One of the things that I've noticed with my grandchildren and our biological children was that when you said something as simplistic as take out the trash or wash dishes, why I have to do it. But one thing that I noticed that young people do going through that stage is they start developing rules. The kitchen is closed, you know, if you use your dishes, wash your own dishes. You know, wait a minute. You develop that as a result of having that responsibility. So the rule still stands. Every young person needs to do a chore in the home because it gets you ready without a doubt. What is the fallback or the consequence of not having that skill of responsibility?
you don't have it like, if you don't have an example, whether it's annoying, like even if it's annoying, you don't have that example to then teach yourself those habits. So like, I will say as I've gotten older, I'm not gonna lie, I still complain about washing dishes because I mean, I've been working all day too, but I do know that when I have my own apartment or house, it is something that has to get done. Like it's a priority, like your household is your priority first. So I feel like if there are people who don't have that, when they get to college even, like they don't have those skills and they're still expecting people to do things for them. So I feel like that's definitely a major thing, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything from you two? That consequence you've seen yourself or maybe a friend has paid.
So I'm more of the person, like, okay, so for instance, I had a roommate and I'm used to cleaning the bathroom twice a week. Well, it was every other day. And she never cleaned the bathroom. Now, when it came to a point where I said, hey, we're gonna have to set some rules for the bathroom. I got Mondays and Thursdays, you got Tuesdays and Wednesdays, or Tuesdays and Fridays. She moved out. Because
That's
she didn't want to
crazy.
clean the bathroom. It's most likely because she didn't have to do it at home.
Okay.
So, I mean, it causes problems when people don't want to clean their mess. Same thing with the dishes. If I do the dishes, okay, that's great. I don't mind doing the dishes. But then it comes to the point of time.
Were you the only
You
one
guys
doing
gotta
it?
wash your own bowls out. Because now I'm doing the dishes. I'm in charge of every dish now. So you guys gotta wash your own bowl out. Yeah.
Critical responsibility.
Cracking.
Critical responsibility.
I don't know. You really touched on anything that I've experienced for real, because I never had really too many run-ins. I mean, personally, like within myself, like honestly, I didn't have chores growing up. It was just kind of a thing I did. If my mom just asked me to keep my room clean, that was it for real. Because you know, I was a good student. I was athletic. I was doing my own little hustle on the side. Like, so they never really asked me to do much. But I mean, I just do what I can. So I mean, I can't really speak on that like that, honestly.
Okay. But you're prepared to handle any responsibility comes your way.
Yeah, because I mean, even up at school, I keep my room clean. I clean up after myself. That's just something you do, like, period.
And those are critical things that is learned by the very thing that you may have criticized in your life. But not knowing that your parent or your guardian, whomever had that critical responsibility of taking you to the next step, was planting that seed in you. And there's an old statement like, I don't want to sound like my mom or my dad, or, you know, be like them. Well, in fact, a lot of things that you do is a result of them being good parents are having rules for you to follow, and that's critical to surviving in life. And a lot of young people are missing that opportunity. So let me ask you this: when as we go through the COVID-19 pandemic, and we're still in it, what did it teach you? What did you learn from it? How did it shape you or reshape you?
I'll say at first it kind of put me in a bad time, like a bad point at first, because I wasn't used to the shift with school. And so it was really hard for me to just go back home and then have to do everything online. I wasn't used to just doing something online because I got used to going to class every day. I was used to like my study groups where I could just go to the library. We could all take a little quiz maybe. And then I got back home and there was no help. So I was just in a bad point. And then starting sophomore year, it just wasn't the same still. Like everything was still online. It was just like I was just on campus. But there was nothing to do. There was no events. So like the social life, like the social aspect was dead. And it was kind of like sad. I don't think I took it very well.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel like COVID taught me how to enjoy my own company. Because like I can't even make this up. I felt like miserable in my room all the time, but I kind of just started finding stuff to do, keep me busy, or even just just occupy my time kind of. So yeah, I think that's what it taught me for the most part.
Okay.
I feel like it was a combination of both of those, but I feel like my college experience is a little bit different because I went to a community college, so I feel like I'm pretty lucky that I didn't have to experience all the college activities and stuff. I didn't miss out on no parties, so it really wasn't that difficult for me on the social aspect. And I don't talk to anybody anyway. I shouldn't even have a phone. So for real, like I just spent a lot of time in my room or in the house in general and outside actually. Just like being by myself, which again wasn't a problem for me. I'm the only child. So, but I definitely say it gave me more of a hustle mentality. I created a lot of goals during COVID that I'm actively working towards, and it also changed my life perspective and my route as well. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good or a bad thing. I would say it's both a good and a bad thing. But I mean, I feel like that really stressed me out was probably school, just because I hate online classes. I knew it before COVID happened, so I knew I was gonna have to stop going to school, which was kind of hard for me because I had to go to be done. So yeah.
And I asked that question, it touches on a little bit of what you said in your answer, is because young people or young adults really got a taste of what adulthood could be, because you became even more responsible for yourself, your survival, and the health of others, because we knew that we had to protect ourselves. You knew that you had to stay 6 feet apart if possible, things like that. And things don't always go our way. Life isn't so scripted that you go from being a child to a young person to a young adult into adulthood, no problems. Everything is, just nice and easy. It's not that. It's not that. That's why this time in your life is very, very critical. How has your relationships with your families developed during this crossing the magic 18? Did you feel a shift at all in attitude or more independence?
This was a big one for me. I feel like because my relationship with my mom wasn't always the best, but now I feel like I'm growing up. I kind of understand where she was coming from, and now I kind of feel like we're best friends in a way. I could tell her anything type thing. I feel like that with my dad too as well. Like, and I don't know, I don't know if everybody be feeling like that, but that's just how I feel. But yeah.
Awesome. Did you have a shift or a ha-ha moment or?
I'll just say that I feel like going into an adult, like trying to be independent, especially when you're the only child, it becomes scary for your parent. So I feel like for me, it's made me become a little more distant. But it might could change. You never know.
Okay. And what about you?
I feel the same way, especially with the only child thing, because it's literally just always been me and my mom. So I feel like, kind of like what Essence said, I've definitely come to understand where she was coming from with all of her rules and her disciplinary actions. I was always told that once I graduated high school and I kind of entered into my own life path, that our relationship would get better. So I definitely feel like that has happened, which is cool to a point. Because I feel like now she's like, oh, this is my friend. I'm like, I mean, but yeah. So I feel like going forward, it's a lot easier for us to communicate, especially with real life topics like what's going on now with like school, like say like school wise and my decisions with school and working and my life path and things like that. So
that's awesome. That's an awesome experience that you would carry forward. So one day when you become a parent, you will look back on things and, you know, try to be poignant with your facts with your own child, you know, because you understand this is not a game that gets over time. So being able to make those mature decisions at critical times is always important. So let's flip the script a little bit. I want you to ask me some questions. I know a whole lot about a little bit. So whatever you ask me, if it fits in this box, I'll do my best to answer it. Okay? So who wants to be first?
okay, I guess I can go first.
Okay.
All right. So my question for you, Coach Powell, is one. Right now, I feel like I would say college students who entered, say, right before COVID, we are going through this transition where we're like, we really don't need school, or realize we really don't need school, especially with the, in regards to like economics, just because the amount that we pay for school is not equivalent to what we make outside of school. So I feel like a lot of people are focusing on entrepreneurship. How do you feel about that?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's different for your generation. This is unprecedented. But you have so many ways of meeting that income, and you're seeing the example of people who are being very successful because they've been using social media to get their products or their ideals out, and that money is coming in return fairly quickly. When you look at the TikTok phenomenon, for example, you need people who are making millions of dollars, being themselves and are having a certain facade of a character, things like that. And people are like, wow, why should I, perhaps they're thinking this, I'm not sure, why should I have my parents invest $145,000 and it's going to take me 20 years of my working career to pay it back when I can do this, or I can put my product out and make it? So I think it's one of those areas where people are struggling with. But being an educator, you know, I have a little bias that education is always a good ticket. And so, but I say you have to do you have to be comfortable in what you do. And if the bottom line is being able to provide for yourself and your family, and if what you're doing is something that doesn't destroy your self-esteem, your self-worth, or your morals, go for it.
So I was listening to when you said, you mentioned social media. So do you believe that social media is a huge influence on today's young adults?
Absolutely, it's an influence, a huge influencer. There's a phenomenon that I labeled many years ago in some of my writings. It's called psychomedia perpetrator disorder. You ever seen a very popular artist or a rapper, and next thing you know, everybody at school is saying what he or she said, or someone acting like them? Yeah, it's that copycat or that duplication, and so some of those things are not healthy. Many of those things are not healthy if we were just be brutally honest about it, and particularly to communities of color. They're detrimental, but someone is paying them a lot of money to produce that information or that behavior. In fact, in psychology, we call it entrainment. You know, you begin to duplicate it without understanding that duplication can get you real time. It could get you in a crime. It can get you into making decisions that are not healthy. So it's definitely an influence, more negative than positive.
More negative and okay.
I know this kind of a little bit off topic, but but I personally have been working to get a car, and I've been saving to get a car, and I have had like conversation of credit being brought up, and I was going to say, do you have any advice on how a young person can build credit, or like what's a good way to start?
Now we're talking financial credit, not emotional credit,
Financial.
Because there's different type of credit, even street cred, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I just want to be clear. We're talking financial credit, and a financial credit is truly a discipline. It's about discipline. Do you have the discipline to get the things that you need, not necessarily what you want? And that's where the discrepancy comes in. Because if you bring in a paycheck home every 2 weeks, $600 or whatever, if you don't have that discipline, you will end up buying your tickets to the concert, paying for your friend's ticket because you don't want to go alone. And then you say, wait a minute, I didn't pay my bill. So your light bills is monitored, your phone bill is monitored, all these things are monitored. And those 2 and 3 days leads to a week, that week leads to 2 weeks, and then you start getting a negative score. So it would have to be disciplined. See your goal, set your goal, become your goal. So you have to put that dream right there where you can reach it. So if you want that car, you got to see yourself in that car. And you have to accept the fact it's going to take that sacrifice. Yeah, so there's only one type of credit, and that's good credit. If you get on the other side of that, you're in trouble. Any other questions? Come on.
I have one.
Okay.
So, back on to crossing the bridge into adulthood.
Okay.
How can we explain to our parents that we're not trying to rush to be grown, we're not trying to be grown at all, but it's just we're trying to get just a taste of being independent? Because eventually we're going to have to branch off. We're going to have to get our own cars. We're going to have to get our own place. We're going to have to get our own, like, we're going to start our career soon. Like, I'm a junior. I'm going to be a senior, in 1 year?
Yeah.
So then I'll be graduating, and then I'll be starting my career. Like, so it's like I'm almost there, and I don't have a lot of time just to be relying on our parents, or that's what I want to say. So how can we just say, we're not trying to be grown, we just want to be a little bit more independent?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you used the analogy of a bridge, because the issue with the bridge is there's several types of bridges. And the one that I want to use it to answer your question is the theory of a tow bridge. You understand how a tow bridge works? You have to pay a price to go across to get to the other side. And in life, you pay a price. Sometimes parents don't want to let you go because it's anxiety-induced type stress. We worry about you. We worry when you're coming home, what time you're going to be back, where are you now? And so that crossing that bridge produces anxiety separation, separation anxiety. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. And that's what happens. And then you have that discussion, and it's sometimes it causes a fracture in the bridge, a pothole along the way. But it gets repaired and things work out in time.
So I feel like a pothole that I have ran into, that my mother and I have ran into, is finding the balance in between allowing me to still be independent but still have guidance. So I do know we just went through a phase where like I asked for a little bit of independency, and instead I was returned with nothing. Like she's like, you know what, figure it out. Like you're an adult, so to figure it out, which is pretty stressful. So I would say, like, since you're a parent, what did you go through that, one, and then two, what did you do to kind of like ease your mind or ease your anxiety when it came to your own children?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. 3 daughters and 1 son, and my 3 daughters are responsible for the color of my hair right now. No doubt about it. But what you do is you believe and you take confidence as a parent that you raised your child correctly. You've given them, it's nothing is perfect, but you gave them the answers and the tools to get things done the way they need to get it done. And then, you let God, you let go and you let God. If you raise them with that foundation, you just believe they're going to make the right decision. And you're there to support them, no matter what. We tell you we're not going to support you, but you know, Papa coming, you know, Daddy's coming, so without a doubt. Yeah. So just stay firm with what you want to do, and you will figure it out. That's the great thing that your mom told you. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Any other questions as we begin to wrap up? What about relationships, really quick? Do you see any of your friends struggling in their relationships? I see them
Are you
lips
talking
turning
about
up.
like relationship, like boy-girl relationships, or
Significant
relationships?
other, you know?
Yeah, I see it. It's frustrating when you feel like your friend deserves better, but they don't see that themselves. So what I do is just try to be positive around them and just always tell them, like, one day, maybe not right now you notice it, but one day you will notice that you deserve so much better than what you're accepting into your life. Because the guys you're attracting, you show them off, so you're just going to keep getting the same guys. So I just try to put in positive little words to my friends when it comes to their choice in men and boys.
I would say whether males or females, value yourself. Put the value on yourself, and the word value
first.
is the letter U. That's what you concentrate on in a relationship. Concentrate on yourself, without a doubt. You know, it's always a pleasure when I have an opportunity to come and talk to YLAG. You young ladies are just so brilliant. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of your leader. I'm so proud of what you do for our community. So I want you to continue to do that. And remember what I told you, critical discussions for critical times. You have to trust yourself. Again, inside the word trust is the letter U. Trust you. You won't go wrong. Thank you so very much for inviting me here this evening. I look forward to coming back.
Thank you.
you.